Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Allie. I got a couple books lately that reminded me of different TV shows, so I stopped reading them. And I was like, that's a good idea for a video to read books like TV shows I like. And in this video, I'm going to do Mare of Easttown. This is the book that kind of started the idea for the video. It's Dirt Creek by Hiiiii Scrivener. Mare of Easttown is an excellent show. It's only 8 episodes, 1 season on HBO Max. If you haven't seen it, stop watching me and go watch that. Not even kidding. I watched it in 1 night. It was amazing. Also another one that inspired this video is Magnolia Parks. And guess which show this is reminding me of? Gossip Girls. Gossip Girl. God, I can't even say that right. Now, Gossip Girl isn't like one of my all-time favorite shows, but it is a really fun show. And I want to read this book. So it fits in the vlog, don't question me. This also is reminding me of this book, which I read last year. It's got that like rich teenage into designer clothes kind of feeling. So this book is about a 12-year-old girl named Esther who disappears. Although in the first chapter, we find a body that is possibly hers. It's in this small town in Australia, and that's part of the part that's really fun and kind of like Mare of Easttown, because that's in a small town in like Illinois or somewhere like that. Why don't I look things up before I just talk shit? It's in Philadelphia, okay? Illinois. There's just a really strong accent that the characters have. The thing that really drove me to buying this book before I even thought it felt like Mare of Easttown was because there is like a regular detective. Her name's Sarah and she's just getting over a breakup. But also the girl who's gone missing, the 12-year-old girl, Esther, she has a best friend named Ronnie. And Ronnie apparently is going to sort of investigate on her own the disappearance of her best friend. So a 12-year-old investigator, I'm like, I've never been more prepared for that. Nancy Drew, where are you? And the other thing that really made me interested in this, it's not in the flap cover, but it is on the Goodreads description, is that this is interspersed by a Greek chorus a la Hercules. And I didn't even realize it because the first chapter, it says we, and I didn't really understand what that meant. And it's in first person plural, like we are waiting for things to converge. We see the man walking toward the ground, something like that. And I thought it was like a school bus full of children, but then I kind of glanced ahead a chapter and there's another chapter with we. So I'm wondering if the we is like this omniscient Greek chorus that they were talking about. It does say us kids, so it's like they're children that are the we. Anyway, that's a part that really I find really cool, despite being similar to Mare of Easttown. Mare of Easttown is a mystery about a girl who has shown up dead. She is like 19 or 20, and there's some other missing girls as well. And I think the reason I found it so similar to Mare of Easttown is just because we do have our female detective who has like breakups in her past, but also the small town atmosphere is the thing that's getting me because everyone knows each other, everyone knows each other's business, and also everyone seems suspicious because of that. Mare of Easttown took some wild ass turns and twists, and that was absolute insanity. And I'm hoping for that, but I cannot expect it because I know I'll be disappointed just because Mare of Easttown was so effing amazing. Seriously, you need to go watch it. I think for this video not to be 10 years long, I'm only gonna update you in the halfway point and then when I finish the book, and I'm going to obviously tell you what I think of the book, but not going into like a full review. I think I'll say at the end of the book whether or not it is as much like the show that I thought it was, maybe for what aspect, as long as it's not a spoiler. Maybe like which one I like better. I can't imagine me liking any of these books better than the show, just because they're gonna be so different. And then maybe if I think of any other recommendations, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Guys, I am halfway through Dirt Creek and I'm loving it. Like I want to stay up tonight and just finish it. I'm on page 165. We have quite a few perspectives. We have the mom of the missing girl. We have the best friend of the missing girl. one of the other school children that's friends with the missing girl, and then our main detective, Sarah. And gosh darn, all the men are just so suspicious. Even if they just smile at a kid, I'm like, that seems sus. The only thing I can say right now that is kind of annoying, well, not even annoying, it's just something that I've noticed, is that the kids, especially Ronnie, who's the missing girl's best friend, I forgot that she's supposed to be 12 because she acts kind of like she is in 3rd grade, or at least the narration is kind of like she's much younger than 12 years old. Maybe I'm just thinking about what I was like when I was 12. The books that I was reading when I was 12, which were, yes, inappropriate now that I'm thinking back. But that is kind of a pet peeve of mine when authors kind of make preteens sound like babies. But even then, I still really like Ronnie's point of view. It's very eye-opening and innocent. As for the mystery, I am so invested. I want to know what happened. I have so many different theories, and it's kind of like Mare of Easttown, where I'm like, I know there's something that's going to pivot everything. So let's go over, what was I gonna say? Ways it might be similar to Mare of Easttown. There is that small town atmosphere where everyone knows everyone's business. That's the best and most linking toward the show and the book. And also there is kind of like a family element to everything. So we see Lewis's parents and his home situation, which is, oh my God, I just wanna take his dad and I wanna kill him. And we see all the kids, their parents, and also the parents' relationship with the other parents, and some of the parents' past. Wow, there's so much going on in here. Right now, it's looking like a 5-star, I'm just gonna say. And I think this is the author's debut novel. I'm shook. So yeah, this is great. I think the other question I said I would answer is if so far it's better than Mare of Easttown, or which one I like better. And I don't think it's fair to say, because one is visual and one is not. And then any other books or shows it's reminding me of, it's a tiny bit like Big Little Lies, but not really. So I will check in with you when I finish it. All right, guys, I just finished it, but I feel like I need to think about it. My first initial thought is that it is definitely not as good as Mare of Easttown, but at the same time, I was curious and engaged enough to want to binge it in this one day. So I will have more, what's the word? Coherent thoughts tomorrow. Good night. Okay, I've had a little bit of time, mostly just my work day, to think about Dirt Creek. And I'm absolutely drawing a blank on everything. I think this is fine. Like how it ended, I think that the twists were not as like twisty, like the reveal of it was just kind of like, I don't know. It seemed a little rushed, or just, I don't know. It seems like a classic twist, but because I had it in mind of Mare of Easttown, which has some of the craziest twists, it obviously was lackluster in comparison. So it's my fault. So yeah, I guess the twist, which I'm sure people who read a lot of thrillers, which I actually don't read that many, but I'm a twisty gal, what can I say? But honestly, I really enjoyed my time reading this. I can't wait for Hailey Scribner's other books. This is her debut novel, which is awesome. And I really like the small town atmosphere. I like the characters. I think Lewis's storyline and his mother's like realization moment, it just seemed really rushed. It happened in like a paragraph. It was kind of ridiculous. But other than that, I think this was really fun, really engaging. I think, oh my gosh. And the part of the we, like that whole Greek chorus thing, that's such a cool idea to do in a thriller. All in all, I think I'm gonna give this, it was looking like a 5-star for a minute, and then it was like a 4-star, but now I'm thinking more like a 3.5, mostly just because it felt a little rushed and it wasn't, I feel like we were going in some really cool, surprising direction. It mostly took like a pretty standard thriller turn, which, you know, that's what we ask of a thriller, so I can't be mad about that. There were a couple things I was going to ask myself at the end of reading each book. which was how was it like Mare of Easttown, or like how is it like the show, or if it was like the show. Like I said, the small town vibes was probably the biggest one. Everyone looking suspicious, crusty men looking suspicious, but also kind of like a familial aspect to everything because everyone is so interweaved so closely. The main difference between Mare and Easttown and this, obviously one's a show and one's a book, but you know, Mare herself, who's the main character of Mare of Easttown, she is a townie. So she is a detective in this small town, and our detective in Dirt Creek was from kind of the big city. I definitely like Mare of Easttown more, but for what this is, I really enjoyed it. Other things that this was like I said, I think on the halfway point that this does feel a little bit like Big Little Lies, not in a messy rich people way, because this town is kind of poor, sort of in a way of like suburban living, although this is kind of a smaller town vibe. But there was also a couple things in spoilers that I can't get into, so it does feel a little bit reminiscent of Big Little Lies. Also, I think that took place in Australia, didn't it? Am I making that up? I know the show took place in California. Anyway, a good start to this vlog. I can't believe I haven't been like that excited to finish a book probably since I finished Our Wives Under the Sea, which is like my new favorite book ever. So definitely the readability aspect, like the thing that makes you want to keep reading and stay up late and read it, this had it, and I love when a book does that. So now we're moving on to Magnolia Parks. Now I didn't come up with this comparison on my own. I saw a couple people's mentioning it and in videos. Locke's Library does her own vlog on this, but I watched her wrap up, and she mentioned that you should go in this like it's Gossip Girl, not like thinking it's going to be a romance with one true pair or whatever it's called, that it's going to be messy and everyone's kind of going to be dating everyone else. And I did read 21 pages of it, and it seems like it's gonna have several aspects similar to Gossip Girl. First of all, there's a lot of talk about money, wealth, designer clothing. I love when books talk about designers. I know some people find that like a reading pet peeve, but I love it because I grew up reading like The Click and The A-List and Gossip Girl. This takes place in London, I'm pretty sure. And in 20 pages, I already got an idea that our main character is sort of like Blair, and one of the main guys, this seems like the kind of book where he might not end up being the love interest, but he does have his own POV. Also, his name's BJ. He seems kind of like a Chuck character, but also Nate. And yes, I will be comparing it the entire time in my head to Who's Who. This is also independently published, so there are some structural and grammatical things that are annoying, but I can easily overlook it because I know it's independently published. So it's like, girl, you wrote this many pages. I'm so proud of you. The thing though that I felt while reading this, and probably around season 4 of this show, was that eventually messy teenage antics get annoying to a grown-ass human. And so I'm hoping that I can really end up loving the characters, because once I love the characters, I can usually excuse any sort of annoyance in plot or stupid, crazy, messy stuff. I mean, I watched 7 seasons of Pretty Little Liars, and I watched all of this show, so I'm capable. But yeah, that's really all I know about this, that the main girl's named Magnolia in this book, and the main boy's name is BJ, sorry. You would think they end up together because there's only their point of views, so that's what I'm guessing happens. I don't even know how old they are. I'm not doing a very good job explaining this book because I don't know that much myself. The first time I saw this cover, I thought it was gonna be like a Swiss Family Robinson pirate era book. But then the back of it, there's no like synopsis. It's just these pictures of rich looking white people. So yeah, this is definitely set in modern times. All right, I'll see you guys when I'm halfway through, which is in like 200 pages. All right, I'm halfway through Magnolia Parks. I'm on page 241. This is kind of like Gossip Girl in the way that it's so infuriating, but yet I can't stop reading it. So it really centers around, obviously, Magnolia, our main character, and BJ, and they've kind of were childhood soulmates, but now they're 22 years old, which is one of the biggest infuriating parts. They broke up like 3 years ago because he cheated on her, but they've sort of been toxic ever since. Like, they fall asleep in the same bed together, but they haven't like kissed or anything since then. And well, first it's just infuriating because it's like, please get some help. But also for 100 pages, it was just them wanting to be together, but like not being together, but being 22 years old, not really having jobs. All they think and talk about is their relationship, which is not even a relationship anymore. It's really, really annoying, actually. But then it gets interesting because then there's sort of a fake dating plot and we get another character in. And I really want him and Magnolia to end up together. Like, I don't want Magnolia and BJ to be together. I think they are so unhealthy and I'm so sick of them. They also have this friend group. There's like 7 of them, like 5 guys and 2 girls, including Magnolia. At least in Gossip Girl, they each have their own plot line. Like, they all have their own relationships and drama, and they all talk about their own stuff to each other. In this book, the entire group only cares about Park and Magnolia. Like, they're out at a club and everyone's just watching Magnolia to see if she is upset about BJ. Did I call him Parks? Like, if I was their friend, I would seriously be like, stop. I cannot listen to this. I do not care anymore, please. I do like the found family aspect, but it does not feel fair for their other friends. It's very one-dimensional, and I think as the books go on, I'm hoping that they jump from character to character so that we get more insight to the others. And I have already purchased the second book because, yes, even though this is so fucking annoying, I'm invested. I get this way about series like the Addicted series, the Calloway sisters. Whenever there's like family or close friends like that, I want all their details. I want to know what's going on. It's also like the toxic part of their relationship is reminding me of After, although BJ is definitely not as insufferable as what's his face. Ew! Like, BJ is damaged, but he's not like whiny. But it is annoying that she now has a boyfriend. Everyone, you know, thinks that Magnolia is dating this really, really hot sounding man who seems really great. And again, I want them to end up together. They all go on like a vacation to Greece. And BJ is surprised that she would be sharing a hotel room with her boyfriend instead of him. Like, what planet do you live on? I just can't, but like, I do understand that some people are this extra, but usually they're like 17, 18, 19, I'll give you 20. Not after you graduated from college and you're like 22, 23 years old. I think he's like 24 years old. My God. Something that I wish it was a little bit more like Gossip Girl is that this is very like drama centric and there's not really too much comedy in it. And I feel like Gossip Girl did have that with like Blair and Chuck, even though they had that rich, like passionate love story, they were also chaotic as fuck and they were troublemakers. But yeah, I definitely see how it is like Gossip Girl in the fact that it's about these rich, not teens, but it's about these rich young adults and they are so kind of egocentric and narcissistic about their lives and their society and their tiny little circle of friends. That's it for now. I'm gonna read a little bit more tonight because, like I said, it is very intriguing and it's not like a thriller like Dirt Creek where I'm thinking, where is this going? I know that it's just gonna be messy and dramatic. And for once, I'm not hating that, but I really I want to slap these two in the face and tell them to get over themselves. That's my update. Guys, I finished this fucking book. This was insufferable. And so some people might argue in that way it is very much like Gossip Girl. However, I feel like Gossip Girl was fun and this was just exhausting. I want to murder both of these people because they're just so fucking insufferable. They just think the world revolves around them because in this book it does. Like, literally no one gives a shit about themselves. All they care about are these two characters. They're literally crying because the two of them are having a fight. It's one of those books where it's like they give you a little bit and then they're like, no, we can't give you that much. And they push and pull and it's too long. It's almost 500 pages of the same thing happening over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Am I gonna read the second book? You bet your fucking ass I am. Ugh. No, honestly, if I weren't doing this video, I probably would have DNF'd at around this part. 80% through, which is good. Like, there have been books like the fine print. I DNF'd the first time like 20 pages in, so. Okay, let's focus. In comparison to Gossip Girl, it's got the rich young people, like I said. Our main character, Magnolia, is one of those people who clocks outfits and she like says exactly, not just like what outfit and who the designer is, but like the material. And it was fun for me, but I could see how it could annoy other people, but I'm a nerd like that, so I kind of liked it. Magnolia was like Blair and Serena. She was like Blair because she was kind of posh. She was kind of like the good girl, but also like, well, Blair wasn't a good girl, but she presented herself to be. She was very prim and proper, but she was like Serena because in the books and I think in the TV show, Blair is so pissed at Serena because everyone is so fucking obsessed with her. And I remember in the books it was a little more like Serena couldn't even help it. Like, people were just drawn to her and they like fell over themselves just to be in her vicinity, and that's like Magnolia. And it is kind of irritating because in Gossip Girl in the books, it's almost funny how often it happens. In this, it was just like, it was sad. It does have a kind of Chuck and Blair kind of toxic soulmatey kind of thing going on. And then they're like punishing each other while they're apart, but they're also still together. It's annoying and messy, but it's also, I don't care as much in this because I'm so over it. After reading it for 500 pages, I want them to both literally never talk to each other again. Like, I'm fine with that. And I think that should have happened 3 years ago. And I think all their friends should stop talking to them until they get their heads out of each other's assholes. So yeah, I mean, I have no idea what to rate this though, because for most of it, I was engaged, even though I was annoyed. That is something. I think it's really impressive because this is self-published, I think, and there weren't just grammatical errors, there were word errors. Like, they meant I'm the most special, but they said I'm the specialist. That's not a word in the way that they were using it, and so it's spelled like I'm a specialist, like a mathematics specialist kind of thing. Anyway, and then there were actual typos, like an A instead of an S. Not too many, but it was, for someone who's obnoxious like myself, it was like I was already annoyed at what was happening, and then I'd see something like that and I'd be like, fuck me, what am I doing with my life? All in all though, I think for being self-published, it's pretty impressive. I think you should only read this if you like romance stories, because if you're not a romantic at heart, you cannot enjoy any bit of this. Because this is really just banking on the hope of like true love, if that makes sense. But it's not fun. It's like exhausting and sad. Have I sold you on this book yet? I kind of want to give it 2.5 stars. Like, if I read this online, on like Wattpad or something, I'd be like, wow, that was impressive. But because it's like a published book and I'm thinking about all the other books that I've read this year, I'm like, ooh, now I'm just being a bitch. Anyway, this was fun. I will say that even though neither of these were 5-star reads, Dirt Creek and Magnolia Parks, I did feel very invested in the stories, and I felt very engaged and I wanted to read. And I think that somewhat has to do with that they reminded me of TV shows that I like. I'll definitely be doing more of these, but more so me actually, I've already done the research, but like trying to find things that are like TV shows and not just like stumbling on them. But
hey, maybe I'll do some of those too. So I hope you enjoyed this. Subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you in the next video.